Hi all, good day. In this session, we will be continuing with our lab program. We have already completed up to lab program 6, and we have also done first I lab IA up to 6th program. So in this session, we will be discussing on the 7th program, which is develop JavaScript program with HTML or CSS for converting JSON text to JavaScript object. B. Convert JSON results into a date. C. Converting from JSON to CSV and CSV to JSON. Fourth, create hash from string using crypto.createHash method. So let's discuss. Okay, let's see what is this JSON. JSON stands for this JavaScript object notation, which is lightweight and used to represent data in more structured and readable way. Okay, it's commonly used for data exchange in web applications, especially in APIs, okay, application program interfaces. When it comes to this JSON, if you people have already learned Python, wherein you have studied dictionary, right? You can compare this with a JSON. JSON way of representation is also in the form of key value pair. Data is represented as key value pair. Example, name, name is key, colon, ABC. ABC stands for value. And when it comes to this JSON, objects are enclosed within this curly braces, and as I mentioned, it is key value pair. Example is within this curly brace, name ABC, age 30. And when it comes to arrays, right, it is always enclosed within square braces. Example, you can see on the screen. This is this classic example when it comes to array within JSON. First, it is enclosed within square braces. Within square brace, each curly brace is one JSON element. Name ABC, age 30, that is one. Second, name PQR, age 25. Third array element is this name XYZ, age 35. Next is this JavaScript object. In last class, we have already discussed about basics of JavaScript, how to declare variable, and what are the types of variables available, right? In this, we'll be saying what is this JavaScript object. JavaScript object is a data structure that allows you to store collection of data in key value pair. Okay, the JSON we have seen, it is also key value pair. When it comes to this JavaScript object, it allows you to store the collection of data in key value pair. Okay, that's one of the most important and commonly used structures in JavaScript for organizing data. Okay, for example, this constant person is the variable name. Okay, is equal to name ABC, that is key value pair. Age 30, that is also key value pair. Is student false, key value pair. So in this, the constant person, for that we are having these values, key value pair, which is also enclosed within this curly brace. And if we want to access this object value, there are two ways. One is this bracket notation, wherein the person of, within this, if you are mentioning age, if you see here, the age is a key, value is 30, right? And it's assigned to the person. If you are using bracket notation, then you can access it using person of within the square brace. If you are putting the key, you will be getting exact value whatever it's been assigned to that particular key. And second way is through dot notation. In this, the person dot name. Using this dot, see this person, it's for this it's been assigned with key value pairs, right? Name ABC, age 30. Within the square brace notation, we have seen the age. In the similar way, with dot notation, person dot age, it will retrieve the value stored, or person dot name, right? Person dot name will be returning whatever the value it's been assigned to that particular key. Okay. Next is this. There is some data in JSON format and one piece of that information which contains the date, but it is stored as text, right? You want to convert the text to a real date, you can work within your code. Okay, for now you just see what is this uh, JSON date and all. Once we get into the code, we will be able to see how exactly it is done. Okay. One thing what you need to remember is uh, JSON data which is having date but it is stored in text as a normal text. How can we display it in the form of date? That is what we will be achieving in this. Okay, how can we convert that? You have seen in the last slide the basics of date. How can we convert that? It's simple. First, you need to pass this JSON into a JavaScript object. First we have seen JSON, then we have seen what is the JavaScript object. First we'll be passing that JSON into a JavaScript object. This is like converting the text into a format we can work within the JavaScript. To convert it into exact date, right? Constant event date, that is JavaScript variable, is equal to new date of date dot date, which will give or which will convert whatever it's there in the text to actual date format. Okay. To make that conversion, we are using this date object. In the above line constant event date, it will be acting as the date object. Okay. This is just an example which has date date in the form of text. Okay. Steps involved are: first convert this into JavaScript object. Next, convert the date string into date object using this new date, right? Using this new date of data dot date. Okay. Next is this. What is this CSV? I think most of you might have already worked on with this CSV, which is comma separated one. Okay. Each line of the file represents a row of data, and each value in the row is separated by comma. Right. It is very simple format used to store the tabular data. Key features of this CSV are rows. Each line in a CSV file corresponds to single record column. Each value in the row is separated by comma representing column in the table. Text format. It is a plain text format, meaning the data is stored with any special formatting or structure other than commas and new line. This is very basic one which you people already know. Okay, let's get into this. We have seen what is this JSON, how exactly it is represented. Next we learned about JavaScript object. Next, date. how to convert this whatever date it is part of JSON, which is in the text format to date, and the CSV also we have seen. Now let's get into the code. Okay, see the code is very simple. Okay, here where exactly? Okay, what we are doing in last class we have already seen how to access this ID and all, right? So when this we'll be using one text area and the ID for that text area is JSON input, and you people already know what is the need of this placeholder. It instructs how exactly the format. It will be helpful for user. Okay, for this text area we have assigned it with the ID. The ID name is JSON input, and within this button anyway we need to have four different uh, sub questions to be answered, right? Convert JSON to object, convert JSON data, convert JSON to CSV, convert CSV to JSON. All those for each action we are creating one button. Once we click on that particular button, whatever data which is there in this text area which is accessed through this ID will be uh, converted to the required output. And the last fourth one was to create hash, right? For this we are having input type text. ID is hash input, placeholder which will be providing some instruction how exactly the input should look, and we are creating one more button for this particular text. And once we click on this particular button, create hash will be called, and we will be able to see the output. Okay, and for output the ID is output. Okay, and script, in last class also we have already seen, if we are seeing, if the parser is seeing the script, that means it's a JavaScript one. It will go to this particular and it includes those code whatever we have included. For this we are using 71.js, that is the code, and for CSS we are using 71.css. CSS one, it's here. It's up to you how you want to design. Since we have already discussed about the basics of this CSS, you can design as per your requirement. This is what the CSS. And when it comes to this JSS, let's have some details. Okay, first function, even in last program we have already used function. Okay, function for the calculator, right? In the similar lines we are using different functions, each for one particular sub question. Okay, and one common function, that is display result, which takes two parameters. One is message, is error, it is initially set to false. Okay, and we are storing this result element is equal to document dot get element by id result element dot text content is equal to the message whatever is being passed to this particular function. If it is having error, this result element dot class list dot toggle, right? This toggle, you people need to uh, concentrate more on this toggle. If it is set to error, or if it is returning, or if it is having any error, this error will be toggled and set to error is present. If no error, then it will be toggled and it will be set to no error. This is what the toggle line number 5 works and how it works. Okay, so when it comes to this converting JSON text to JavaScript object, okay, for this we are going with this convert JSON to object. Within this First thing is we are having this JSON input document.getElement by JSON input. If you remember this JSON input, it is part of this text area, right? It is part of this text area JSON input. Okay. First, we'll be retrieving and uh, getting the details, whatever it's been added or entered by user in that particular text area, and we are storing it in the variable JSON input. Next, we need to convert it into a JavaScript object, right? In line number 12, we are using this JS object is equal to JSON dot parse of JSON input. JSON input already have the data whatever entered by user. Okay. For this JSON dot parse, we are passing that value whatever we have retrieved. Okay. If this JSON input is valid JSON, JS object will be a JavaScript object if it is a valid input. Okay. Once this is done, once this JS object, if JSON input is valid, it will be JS object will be a JavaScript object. Next line, formatted JSON is equal to JSON dot stringify of this JS object. Okay. In this line, what exactly we are performing is this JS object, whatever we did it in line number 12, is converted back again to the JSON format. JSON string using this JSON dot stringify. That is what the main use of this stringify. Okay. See one thing in the above line, what you are doing here, this particular line that JS object is equal to JS JSON dot parse of JSON input. This takes JSON input string and parses it into a JavaScript object using JSON dot parse, right? And if the JSON input is valid JSON, then JS object will be a JavaScript object. This JavaScript object we have already seen when we discussed about this topic in PPT. In next line, right, what we are doing, this exactly converts the JS object, right, JS object back into a JSON string using JSON dot stringify. This stringify is used to convert it back to the JSON string format. Okay. Next, the display result of formatted JSON. Once this is called, we have already discussed about this basic function and common function, how exactly it works. Next, if it is having invalid JSON, then this invalid JSON error message will be displayed and true. See this line number 17. This is passed as message and is error is set to true. Okay. If it is exactly the JSON, whatever format JSON required, then as I mentioned in line number 5, this toggle will be set to false itself, so it has no meaning. In case if it is not valid, then if we are calling line number 17, that is display result of invalid JSON, please check your input true. Then this toggle is set to there is error, right? There is error, and it will be displaying this exactly invalid JSON, whatever message you are putting in. Next thing is convert JSON results into a date. As I mentioned, it's in the form of string, right? In case if JSON is having date, also a key value pair, and if it is in string, so we need to convert that into exact date, right? That is what we are doing in this function. Similar to the above function, first we will access this JSON input, which is for text area. We will access what exactly user has entered. Next, JSON parse, right? JSON parse for this JSON object, sorry, JavaScript object, right? JavaScript object. Once it is in place, using this expression, if object dot dot notation dot date, if it is having date, display result as this new date. Okay, display result as this new date. It's a date object which we have seen in the PPT, right? New date, okay, of this obj, that is whatever we passed, obj dot date, which will be passed, and it will be processed further if it is having date as input. If it is not having input, then no date field found, which is set to true, which will be passed for this display result. Okay, if it is having valid uh, date as input, then this display result will be having new date of object dot date, this. Okay, if it is not valid, or if it is leading to some other error apart from no date field found, it will be displaying this invalid JSON. Please check your input. Next thing is this converting JSON to CSV. Okay, similar to other two functions. First, we'll be accessing this JSON input ID, and we'll be getting whatever data entered by user. Then, using this JSON parse, we'll be converting it into JavaScript object. And if array.isArray of value, see, this array.isArray is an inbuilt JavaScript method used to check if the provided value is an array element or not, or array or not. It returns true if the value is an array, else it returns false. Okay. In PPT discussion, we have already seen, right? If it is having the square braces, starting with the square brace, we'll be considering it as array, right? First it will check whether it's actually array or not. Okay, as I mentioned, this array.isArray, it's an inbuilt JavaScript method used to check whether it's array or not. Next, array.length, it should be greater than 0. Okay, if both conditions are matching, right? As I mentioned, if you have seen this CSV, which is comma separated one, the first row will be the header, right? Followed by the data, whatever user or that CSV file is having. First, we will check whether actually this is array or not, and along with that, if array length is greater than 0 or not. If both are satisfied, first we will extract the headers from that uh, JSON, right? From that JSON, and we'll be storing that into headers is equal to object dot keys of array of 0. Okay. This object, it is also an inbuilt JavaScript object. Okay. if it is having the headers as name, age, city, right? Those headers will be stored in this particular array of 0. Next thing, using for loop, let I is equal to 0, I less than array length I plus plus. This CSV plus is equal to this assignment operator. You people might have already studied, not might have, you have already studied in your previous semesters. This CSV plus is equal to object dot values of that array of I dot join. This dot join within that comma, which makes it first access that value of that particular array of 0, then insert one comma. As you people know, in JSON it will be key value pair, no comma, right? Once we are converting that into CSV, we must add comma after each value is been added for each particular column. So with the help of this particular line, this JSON will be converted to the CSV. And this for loop continues till array length, and each value will be added as per the CSV form. Once everything is ready, display result of this CSV. Okay. In line number 38, if any one condition is not satisfied, it will come to else part and display invalid JSON format or empty array. Apart from these, if any exception is happening, then to access or to address that, using catch, we are displaying this invalid JSON. Please check your input. True. Similarly, this CSV to JSON in previous program, function, we have seen how to convert this JSON to CSV. In this, we will be doing the reverse action, that is CSV to JSON. Okay, even in this, see this JSON input. First, we will be accessing the particular ID that is that belongs to the text area, right? Next, row of 0, as we have seen in the previous function, this will be having headers dot split. Since we are putting input in the form of CSV, wherever we see comma, that is one particular column, right? Since it's a comma separated one, and this rows of 0, it is for headers. First, we will access these headers and we will create one empty array with JSON. JSON is equal to array to store JSON object. Next, using the same for loop, let I is equal to 1, I less than rows dot length. How many rows it is having? Rows of 0, it is pointing to the headers. How many remaining rows are there? So that is the reason it's starting with index 1, excluding the headers, whatever value it is having. And rows dot I dot split. This split function, wherever it is seeing that comma, it splits into each row into, or it will be considered as one particular column value. Okay. Next, each column value should be corresponding to the header, whatever we have retrieved, right? For example, if it is having name, age, city, that will be acting as header, right? In these values, you will be seeing this ABC 25, Bangalore, then PQR 30, right? So it should be separated. So that separation will be doing with this. Uh, that separation will be doing with this split. Okay. Next, for let j is equal to 0, j less than headers dot length j plus plus. If it is having three columns, right? Each column we should get the value, whatever it's been assigned to that particular column, right? Object of headers of j, that is As I mentioned, name, that is one column. Then uh, this age is another column, city is another column, object of headers of j, that is 0. Headers of 0 will be having this name. For that particular name, what is the value being assigned in the first row, it will be having with this values of 0 dot that trim, right? Similarly, it continues until it completes that particular row. Okay. Once everything is done, right? Using this JSON dot push of object, push the object into the JSON array, whatever we have created in line number 65. Once this is done, we'll be using this display result. See these programs and these functions, it's similar to your C, and the logic is also similar to C, right? Last thing is creation of this hash from string. We'll be providing one string as input, okay, and that string has to be converted to the hash, okay. For this, we will be using crypto.subtle.digest, which is a crypto API to create SHA-256 hash. Okay, this JavaScript function computes hash of the provided text using SHA-256 algorithm, and this output will be the hash buffer. Okay, this hash buffer is the output. When you see this dot, then you can consider it as asynchronous function call. I think you people might have already known what is this synchronous and asynchronous call. Okay. In this asynchronous call, this action, line number 95, it's asynchronously executes. I mean, it doesn't wait for the previous action to be completed. It works independently. That is what the asynchronous. This dot then, either you can use it with this dot then, which will consider it as asynchronous, or promise dot then. Both way it is okay. And this hash buffer, it is the output of this crypto.subtle.digest. Okay. So what it does, first it will access this hash input, which is id for the input text, input type text, right? This is the hash input. Here user will be providing, here user will be providing the text value. It will be accessed first. If not text, return display, please enter text to hash, and it will be displayed to user. If it is having text, then proceed further, calling this crypto.subtle.digest. Using this SHA-256, we will be converting it into hash. Okay, and for this encoder.encode, we'll be passing whatever data or text entered by user, and this dot, then I have already mentioned, it works asynchronously. It need not to, or it works independently, right? It need not to wait for the previous action to be completed in this particular uh, function. Okay, see how this exactly the crypto works is, whatever text you are entering, it will be first converted into binary. It's not by character. Whole text will be first converted into uh, this bits. Okay, so using this unit 8 array of hash buffer, we'll be converting it into hexadecimal. so that it will be easy for users to read. In this line number 97, we will be creating hexadecimal value of that converted bits. That is what we are performing in this line number 97. Okay. And once this hash function is executed, as I mentioned, it will be in this hash buffer in the form of this bits, and this bits will be converting it into hexadecimal form. With this hexadecimal form, we will be taking or will be mapping what is that hexadecimal number corresponds to, so that it will be easy for humans to read. That is what we are performing in this line number 97 to 99. And this 101, we are displaying this result for this SHA-256 hash. This dollar hash x, initially it is having the bits form, right, which will be converted to hexadecimal. And once it is converted to hexadecimal, what is the equivalent string which corresponds to this particular hexadecimal values will be stored in this particular, and which will be sent for display function. Okay, this is what the explanation for this particular function. Let's see how exactly this output looks. Okay, see, this is how, or this is what the function whatever we have discussed so far looks. Okay, JSON operations. Here you can put the name abc, comma, age, okay, convert JSON to object. See, now it is converted to JavaScript object. So let's include date, right? Date 2024 11 30, right? It is having date. So if we are converting that to, okay, we are converting the to JSON date. See here, previously I missed to add this comma in the JSON, so that's why it gave error. So once we fix this, see here, we have provided in 2024 11:30, right? Once we convert that into actual date, right, it is showing Saturday, November 30 2024, along with that this GMT 5:30, that is Indian Standard Time, it is displayed, right? Next, we will convert this uh, JSON to CSV. Why it is giving error? Because it is not having any array, right? So if you if you are passing the array elements, it will be considering it as valid and it will be displayed. Okay, so we'll see this hash. Hi, hello. If we are creating on this hash, so this is what the hash function value. Okay, and for this text area we have access, sorry, uh, assigned one id, and for this input uh, type we have assigned one id. This we are accessing it for this hash function. Once we click on this, it will access whatever data we have entered here, and it will be converting that to hash. Okay, this is what your seventh program. Thank you.